Do it.
Well, it's different.
It's not different.
It's a different thing.
How dare you?
You guys.
How dare you? You know what? Everyone should be a part of this conversation. And then I said to her, it doesn't go there. Anyway.
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? I am so sorry.
Nope.
About this. Well, you're currently tuning into the Web of CultPop podcast, episode 65, a show where we talk about comics and movies and TV show and breaking news and inexplicably being in multiple places at once with your power of our minds and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. We're coming to you live from the Young Chuck Podcast HQ.
Young Junk.
Junk.
Yeah, that's it. It's a wonderful podcast production space in Manayunk. It's not their fault that this is happening the way it is right now. This is our fault. I'm your webtastic host, JD, of JD's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127.
What's wrong with what's happening right now?
Yeah, I was into it. Except you didn't do the last 4 digits of the zip code.
19127.
No, and then the 4 after that nobody knows.
I don't know those.
I don't know
What is that number?
I don't know. Maybe a 4?
Zip code and then like a region, a zoning.
Something. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
If you're in the chat or would like to email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com and let us know what the fuck those numbers are. What are
the last at the end of the zip code, you get a dash, and then some more numbers,
and it fills it in.
No,
if they need to.
Enough with the sass about like well, it's a zip code, you dummy. No. What's the specific purpose of those dash other 4 numbers?
Yeah.
Also, do you guys remember? We're old. Do you remember when there weren't zip codes?
No. Do you?
Oh yeah.
How old are you?
Like you were born in '05.
Area codes.
Yeah.
Area
codes.
Area codes.
Oh, I stuck it out as long as I could.
I didn't get my own personal cell phone or my own number until high school, college, and it was in Orlando, which was overpopulated. So I've never not had 10-digit dial.
Okay.
But at home,
in all of Florida, no, just all of Florida. By the time I was of age to remember everything and like get number, it was always 10-digit dial because I guess the population centers are dense.
I didn't know that was like
it was always 352 or 407
here. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
With me tonight is Noel.
Hey.
And Brian.
Hi.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan.
That wasn't Dylan. That was actually a dying seal. Dylan, if you could push the seal to the side and let us know you're...
Yeah, I got it. He's gone.
Okay.
I'm just gone. Sorry about that, guys.
Smells.
We got a real bad seal problem in this studio.
Seal.
Oh, are you guys having a problem with him?
I mean,
I find them to be delightful.
Yeah, it's cool. We toss the ball around.
Sounds like a you problem, honestly.
Up until we asked for your name, it was quite silent.
Yeah, the seals got me and the seals got beef. They don't like it when I
They call it blubber.
participate in things. Yeah.
That's the root of the beef.
You blubbing me, bro?
You
blubbing?
Chew the fat and
you could make something out of this.
Yeah, we blub.
Why you blubbing?
Like food.
The bit that you were doing?
No, I just blubber.
More like oil or...
No.
Hey, we're going to move on to our next segment.
No.
What do you lovingly
segment?
call it?
I guess intro is not a segment.
No, intro is a segment. It's so like
there's
the
an intro
A block
and then
is
the
intro
segments.
and the segment, but like intro. Well, yeah, I guess so.
Right? Intro, then segment. The segment is what you've been doing this week, huh?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it to Brian, and I'm going to ask him what he's been up to this week, and then I'm going to add a at the end of it just to make it a little annoying. Hey, Brian, what you been up to this week? Huh?
So
was that a douche chill or a cum chill? What kind of chill was that?
that was because of your
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, you know what caused it.
Yeah. I know how it went down.
I knew that you wanted to make it a little more annoying, and even though I didn't feel that, I made a
went
play
along
of
with
it.
the bit.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt it from Dylan that it was. That he was annoyed.
He is radiating.
Yeah, he's over to
arousal.
The left. It's a little bit of like a sting in the air.
And now he's with the seals, and they're all kind of looking at this way.
What'd you been up to this week, huh?
I watched a movie called Corner Office.
Never heard of it.
Yeah?
I wrote the entire description if you want that instead of this.
In this workplace comedy
go.
reminiscent of Office Space and Severance, misfit Orson finds himself trapped in the absurdities of corporate life. As the authority's newest employee, Orson finds it difficult to connect with his enigmatic desk mate, Rakesh. As well as with the rest of his colleagues, his alienation deepens when he discovers a room he's told doesn't exist. A place that unleashes his true potential, leading to an ascent up the corporate ladder.
Yes.
Did you like this flick?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Really
Starring
liked
John
it.
Hamm and Danny Pudi.
I
guess
had
so.
never...
Puddy?
I don't know.
Pudi.
I had never heard of it, but I looked it up and watched the trailer after you mentioned it, and reviews are not kind
Oh, really?
at all.
I could see it.
It's like a
yeah,
22%, and then audience scores like
did see that.
sub
It was-
50.
Yeah. I saw like the highest
yeah.
review that I saw of it was like 4.7 aggregate, kind of something
Yeah.
like that. And Tamara and I were like, what's with these people?
Basically, yeah. I was wondering,
Yeah.
like, is it?
What did you
down the
think?
line?
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome, but it's a different kind of thing, right? It a lot of the words that they used in that to describe it are what I would use to describe it, right? It's like the
desk mate?
desk mate,
Absurd, enigmatic,
Trapped
alienating.
and
and these other things. Yeah, I would say
I was going to
alienating.
keep going.
That was it.
Ladder.
just read the whole thing again.
Yeah.
In this workplace
No, don't do
comedy.
it.
So
Tell us more about your thoughts.
yeah, it was this like corporate absurdism kind of thing in this very
Enigmatic.
enigmatic atmosphere. Actually, enigmatic would not be. It is enigmatic, but that's not what stood out to me. It's like this mood that you're in. It's like a heightened reality. There's a lot of low camera shots kind of thing.
Sure.
The guy who plays his boss is this very almost Vincent Price-like quality.
In the he like I think I'd seen him before play like a German in another movie, like a brooding German in another movie. He's got that kind of face.
yeah.
Where he's just like put him in a uniform and he
sinister,
growls. And
and-
he even has a tiny mustache, right?
I don't recall, but
I'll
they
find
didn't
out.
focus on it.
I will.
And so anyway, it's very interesting. I definitely got like Severance
Vibes?
vibes.
I didn't
from
finish.
this, right?
I loved it.
Oh, really good. This is a different kind of thing, and it's the corporate, not surreal, absurdist thing that is the major similarity, obviously. So yeah, it's really interesting. He finds this room. He goes in it. It's this like perfectly well appointed room. It's very comfortable. He loves it, and the other, and he like looks better in there. He thinks better. And the other people are like freaking out, right? They're like, why does he get to do this? And I get, like, well, he can't just act this way, right? And so he's going there is very, very strange to them.
Yeah.
And it's a focal point of the movie, but it's interesting. There's an interesting theme, which isn't really harped upon. I just thought of it as I was thinking about it later. He's, like they say, he rises the corporate ladder when he's doing things in this room, and they all find it very odd. And it's the rumination of he's really good as long as he does this strange thing, right? And they have a problem with him doing this strange thing, even though it
doesn't hurt anyone.
Doesn't hurt anyone.
Okay.
It's just odd. And it's not something that, like, that isn't really driven into you while you're watching it, but it's present, and the ups and downs that come from that. And it's really cool. It was this little experience, this slow but captivating experience where there's he works in this gigantic faceless building. The Authority is the name of the corporation. They have to wear booties in the office. Think about the floor.
Oh.
Yes.
That's like the first line in the trailer.
Yeah. We like to think about the floor.
How did you watch this?
I watched it on the Roku channel. Now, it was available for $5.99, and we thought, I don't know. Do we want to do that? And while I was watching it, it felt weirdly okay that there were commercials, but every time there was a commercial, I was like, fuck. There's, like I was just getting into this, this vibe, this mood, and it's entrancing. And looking back, like the $5.99 would have been worth it.
I've been having problems with. You know what? I'll save it till you come to me.
Okay.
It'll be related.
Well, and also John Hamm, awesome. You're right. John Hamm is always great, and he plays this like the subtleties with which he reveals like who this character is, as opposed to who this character thinks that he is to himself, because it's all narrated. He is the major voice in this movie.
Hamm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just narrated, and other people talk, but his narration is fantastic. It's excellent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it seems interesting. I still have on my to watch list his Fletch, and I know you loved it.
Yeah.
And the 5th season of Fargo, because he's like the dude.
I've heard it's
in
good.
It. Yeah, we're on it's a Ham-a-sance.
Amazons, yeah.
Yeah, the resurgence of the ham.
Were you hammed before?
Ham, 2 M's. I've been hammed in the past.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was Team Ham.
Team Ham. Good Omens.
Double M's.
Ooh.
Ham.
I've hammed it up a couple of times.
Not even good.
Couple of times?
Hey,
You hamming it up right now?
Good Omens. He's delightful, but I mean, Ham from way back. Yeah, he's
Gabriel in Good Omens, and then in season 2 is a major player in the show. Yeah.
Even Mad Men Ham and the Mad Men.
That was his original ham for many people.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he did with Tina Fey. Ham it up. He's a hammer.
30 Rock.
Oh, 30 Rock
Yes.
Ham. Oh, I love 30 Ham.
30 Rock Ham, Kimmy Schmidt Ham. Ham.
I wanted to love
all
Kimmy
day.
Schmidt so much. I was so primed for that show because I love Tina Fey, and I really liked that actress in The Office.
Ellie Kemper.
Ellie Kemper.
Yes.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then
I heard it was really good, too.
I
Did not get into it.
couldn't do it.
Not your ham.
It takes.
He was not my ham.
He's a cult leader in it. It's great.
Yeah.
It takes
I did see that bit.
a season.
Yeah.
Is that right?
well,
Because I
'cause
did
it-
not stick with it either.
it,
but I saw it.
I don't find the other characters charming at all. Like I do not find
Titus.
Titus Andromedus
Oh fuck!
to
he's
be
amazing.
every time he's on screen. I'm kind of wishing he wasn't.
I find him amazing. The
I mean, a lot of people do.
it's an Netflix. It's an early Netflix show. It was designed as a drop. It is not a week to week kind of experience. It's chunks, and it takes about half the first season to really
Get into it.
really flow because the show is incredibly absurdist.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Not the
non sequitur.
absurdism,
It's
it's
non
love
sequitur.
absurdism.
It's
Yeah.
non sequitur and it's absurdist. If you're not like, it takes. There's a specific tone to it. Now, it only really stays funny for like 3 seasons, but the show.
How many
keeps
seasons
going.
are there?
I think it's like 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you just
You can stop anytime you want.
you can't sustain that kind of like absurdity for too long. At least
yeah.
for me.
Right.
Like after a while, it's just like
Another of the same.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess I
yeah.
just wanted. I guess
Like
I was
Family
expecting
Guy.
more
48
30
years of
Rock
that.
or something.
I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let me say this Corner Office is based on I don't know if it's a novel or a novella, a short story called The Room, right? And I haven't not read that, but it really feels like it could have been a short story before.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
Yeah.
the vibe of it's a literature of a movie.
Yeah,
You know?
I understand.
Yeah, very well crafted. So,
I
yeah.
dig it.
Noel,
Yo.
what have you been up to this week? Huh?
Well, we just got past Valentine's Day.
You got past it.
We got past it. We survived another Valentine's Day. It's February 14th for anybody that don't know. Valentine's Day.
And February 15th, you survived as well.
I survived 14th, and today is the 21st. I think it was
You've got
assumed
this whole time.
that
He's on a
I've been
roll.
alive
Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
killing it, dude.
Yeah.
Bravo.
A whole 7 fucking days, my
Right,
dude. So for Valentine's Day, I made my wife a charcuterie board or a chuchucootie board. I don't know if you're.
Choo choo cootie board.
It's
the train?
meats, cheeses, fruits, vegetables, the whole nine.
All right.
Yeah, it
we were
sounds like a
just-
butt train.
We were just gonna.
Is that what you think a cootie is?
Choo choo
Yeah,
cootie.
is that
it's
a
around the
cootie
other
to
side.
you?
That's the other
I
one.
guess that's
All
a
right.
coo- no.
Choo
Choo
cutty. How about that? Is that better?
Choo choo plenty. Choo choo cutty.
Cutty.
Charcuterie.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Go on.
so we were prepared to sit down and watch something. However, we did not decide beforehand what we were going to watch. So went through the whole thing of it had to be something comfortable, but not something weird. Like it just needed to have that right tone. So then it hit me while I was scanning. What is the most romantic movie from 1997?
Hold on a second.
What was it?
Is it Con Air?
It's Con Air.
The most. I mean, I would say most romantic of '97 is kind of underplaying it.
How do I?
You think like late 90s?
90s,
90.
yeah, like 95.
Would you go
to
90 to 2010?
So basically,
Okay.
the decade of the 90s is basically defined by how successful and romantic Con Air is.
Yeah.
Starring Nicolas Cage as Cameron Poe, John Cusack, John Malkovich, Steve Buscemi, Ving Rhames,
John
Monica
Cusack
Potter.
is in that. Oh, is he the guy on the ground talking
he's
to
Vince
him?
Larkin.
Oh,
Cole
right,
Meany,
right. Vince Larkin.
Danny Trejo. Dave Chappelle.
Oh yeah, before he was well. Steve Buscemi, did you say him?
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
A gajillion people.
Yeah.
This
Monica
movie-
Potter,
Monica Potter.
who was very fun.
Plays Trisha Poe.
His wife.
That's right. I think you've seen the movie.
I did see the movie in theaters.
What?
His hand. He
Yeah, I
was
saw it in theaters
registered
also.
as a man who could kill.
Okay. I don't know if anybody has seen this movie or seen it in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I don't say this lightly. It's fucking stupid.
Is that right?
It's a dumb movie.
But they're on that
But
plane.
we watched the shit out of it. And we watched the shit out of it hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it starts with he's
Hard
coming-
and wet.
His,
Hard and wet.
An army ranger who comes back and protects his wife and accidentally kills a guy, but he's a human weapon, so they put him away for 8 years.
Yeah, they registered him as
Yeah.
that.
I don't know if there was an actual registration
Was
process
it not?
or any kind of like.
But I thought it was like you knew.
Nothing was sealed and pressed
thought
by a
it was.
notary in order to make him a weapon.
I don't-
But I feel like
Yeah.
what? The point was made. By
I thought
a
it was like a
judge.
legal thing where they're like, listen, you were trained in these things, so
I would
you are. The fact that you did this is
You are
like
a human weapon. and-
more.
So, so in
use
the
of a
world of
weapon.
Con Air,
Yeah.
that is legal precedent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
make-
Nobody thinks he registered for this or did whatever official papers he had to fill out.
It is a precedent, and it's called Poe's Law. It's
Yeah.
a Cameron Poe law that he is a human weapon.
I
and
guess
can
I
use
guess he's just open carry at this point, right?
I
Like,
mean,
you can't really hide.
with those guns.
He just walks around.
Anyway, okay, for those of you who have never seen this stupid fucking movie, man is put in jail for 8 years, doesn't get to meet
Nicolas
his daughter.
Cage
Nicolas Cage
is.
is put in jail.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage with
respect him.
Oh man.
it's not a mullet,
is
but
Cameron
it's
Poe.
also not a mullet.
Yeah.
It's a
It's long hair.
but it's slicked.
It's party in the
sides.
back.
And
Right.
party
but there's
around the
hair
sides
on the
too.
sides. It's just like
There's a party
slicked
also in
off.
the front.
And then the
Also, his hair.
Party
It's a
time.
360
Yeah.
party.
It's a 360
Conservatively,
party.
his hairline starts in the middle of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
he's
this
trying to
movie's really
get
fun.
home.
He's trying to get home. Like he is last day in prison, paroled on transport to back to Georgia, Alabama.
That fucking accent.
Georgia, Alabama.
Georgia,
Biggest
Alabama.
city in Alabama.
It's a small town in Alabama.
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah. It is, Georgia, Alabama is a small
Georgia-
town
it's Georgia-
within Alabama, Texas.
Alabama, Texas is the
Yes,
town
yes.
in Georgia County. Yeah. Which
Oh,
is yeah.
in Alabama.
And
I got you.
Do you want to know the zip code? I know all 8 numbers.
What-
No.
Thank you.
He's on his way home to meet his daughter for the first time, buys her a stuffed bunny, can't wait to get home. However, the plane that they are on is hijacked by other terrible criminals, and because he's a former Army Ranger, he can't leave the plane and the innocent people on it behind. So he just keeps trying to communicate with the marshals on the ground and thwarting the bad guys on the plane.
Wait, there's innocent people on the plane? It's not just a prison transport?
The guard, it is a prison transport,
okay,
but like the
okay.
guards,
Oh,
and
right,
then
right,
also his
right.
best friend who is like a petty criminal who's being transported also.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Or yeah, and his friend is diabetic and doesn't get his insulin, so he's like, and then he gets shot.
Oh.
Anyway, the movie doesn't hold up in a lot of ways, but it also holds up in a lot of ways. The one-liners don't hit. The accent terrible.
He does an accent?
Oh,
Who
it's-
does an accent?
It's awful.
I feel
Nick
like
Cage.
everyone
Like a
does an
southern
accent.
accent?
Yeah, it's awful.
It's really terrible. But there is a distinct
the bunny.
aesthetic to the movie that you don't really see anymore. It is like high contrast, sepia tone. Everyone is excellent at everything. It's like it almost feels like a European action movie. Now it's like after the Bourne movies, action movies became something else, and they're not like this anymore. And I kind of missed it and didn't realize I did. And it's just pure bug nuts fun and stupid. Like it was a really, really fun watch. But now, what I didn't enjoy and I didn't sign up for was there are commercial breaks on Hulu.
Oh, no.
And I lost my shit the first time because it comes at a
Yeah.
Guys
it
went nuts.
happens in a moment that you shouldn't get a commercial. It's just like inserted in, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why do I pay for this?
Yep.
And then
I feel like we had
you-
this conversation on the show, and everyone was yelling at me, and I was like, "Shouldn't we? Like,
If-
if I'm paying for something,
I think this was a dream that you had. You
might
brought
have
it up before the show, and we didn't get to talk about it.
I usually don't have a problem with commercials in general. I don't have a problem with commercials in general if the content I'm watching has built-in kind of commercial breaks. So TV shows that I'm watching streaming, they literally do have like act breaks where you insert a
Right,
commercial.
right.
It like feels in motion like that should happen,
part of
that's
the
fine.
flow.
It's part of the flow.
Right.
Just arbitrarily in the middle of a scene in a freaking movie, that is a kill. And honestly, too, one of the coolest. This happened. We're both sitting there watching this terrible movie. Commercial comes out of nowhere, and we're bitching, and my wife and I are bitching and moaning at each other for a second about the commercials.
Like,
And I was like, I should just go down to the basement where all the DVDs are and pull this out. And she was just like, good thing you kept all those. You were right about physical media. I was like, yes, I was.
and you did do that.
No, I didn't go to the basement yet, but I will keep this movie. It's such a good, dumb movie. I do miss these types of earnest action movies. I don't feel like they really happen much anymore.
How does it compare to The Rock? The Rock
I want to rewatch
The Rock.
The Rock.
To me is like
The
peak.
Rock is
That's good.
But
not
also
as-
Face Off.
Face Off's the
Face Off's
best.
good too.
Also-
Why
also-
would that change their face? Right? They're just putting the
okay.
skin. We were
You're already
just having
done.
this conversation the other day.
As soon as you get into but how would that really work?
Not even
Just go
really
away.
work, right?
It's not
but
even,
like your face looks the way it does because of the bone structure and cartilage underneath it.
I mean,
No, but I
do-
think if I took his face off and wore it, I would
So
all
when
of a
was the last
sudden
time you
be
saw the movie?
Slightly shorter.
They do make. When was the last time you saw the movie? Because they do make a bunch of
In the theaters.
cockamamie, reasons.
this
that's
is why it works.
Oh, and
Oh, that's fine then.
We're gonna shave his jaw here, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do
whatever. Then. That's fine.
They
Okay.
like it's all throwaway dialogue,
Sure.
but if you really start to analyze that, it's just like, this maybe not be the movie for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. The last time I saw it was in the theaters. They're doing another one, I think, right?
What? No. What?
Face Off 2?
No.
No, I don't know.
What?
Anyway,
No.
we'll get back to you about that.
Okay.
Another Con Air. No.
Steve Buscemi in that movie is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so weird. You asked The Rock. I think The Rock. I haven't watched The Rock in a while, but I'm gonna now.
Yeah.
I think it is a better movie. Air quotes, like just of all the acting. It
Sean
takes
Connery,
itself
Ed
seriously.
Harris.
This movie doesn't take itself seriously, but I think the action is different in how it's produced because Michael Bay is very like to the wall, not as colorful, and a little like chaotic. Whereas Simon West, the director of this, it's all very staged and it's all very like opulent. There's a scene in the movie where he literally just walks through the chaotic plane, gets shot in the arm, doesn't flinch, and it's more like almost messianic. Whereas The Rock, it's just there's always dirt flying. It's like a war
true.
picture. I think the aesthetic is completely different.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Anyway,
Indeed.
Con Air.
It makes
Available now on Hulu. Go check it out.
I want to go watch it again.
I'm gonna watch The Rock probably this week, just because, What do you? JD.
Hey.
JD.
Yeah, that's me.
What have you been up to this week?
Oh, thank
What's
you
our
for
main
asking.
review?
You piece of shit. So I've been up to this week. I think the same thing that Noel was also up to while
What?
during the commercial breaks
Before and after
for
Con Air.
Con Air.
Yeah.
He was binging True Detective season 4.
That's true.
Did you have a separate TV? That you,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I watch most media like it's meant to be watched, and that's on my phone.
Of course.
No, it's kidding.
Of course.
So
Did you have commercial breaks in what you were watching? We both did.
True Detective season 4 was streaming on Max, and I remember watching. Have you ever seen any of the True Detective seasons?
No, I've heard I've heard season 1 is really good.
I feel like you
And
would
then
like
season
season
3,
1.
when we talked about it last week, I think.
Oh, yeah, I just recently watched it. I think you would really like season 1.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Philosophical conversations.
Basically.
Yeah.
So it wrapped up, and I loved it. Question mark.
Yes, you did.
But I do have some nitpicks,
Some caveats.
some caveats.
Interesting.
But I can't spoil it for you, so I don't want to spoil the show for you. But I do like the acting is wonderful, the staging is wonderful. The special effects are quite good actually.
The special
It's a very well produced show.
Yeah, it's the money's in there. And I really enjoy the dialogue. I enjoy these characters. There is an actress who is was she a wrestler?
I don't know. I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Yeah.
in the real world.
Yes.
I see.
She's like a fighter turned actor. And so basically it takes place in Alaska and the nighttime has just set and it is a long nighttime.
Long
It
night.
was like 3 weeks of night, I think,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Is that the name of-
Callie Reese.
Kelly Reese.
Thank you.
Callie Reese.
Callie.
Callie Reese.
But yeah, did you guys hear
Yep.
that Hellboy has a new movie coming out this year?
No.
Hellboy the Crooked Man. I did
Yep.
not hear that.
It's directed by one of the two Neville Dean and Taylor guys.
The live
and
action?
Yeah.
Who's Hellboy?
somebody you've never heard of.
Okay, great.
Who's, oh.
Who's that?
So, for
heard of
context
him.
of those that aren't, so in the chat, Terry jumped in and asked if we had heard about a new Hellboy movie that's coming this year. Yes.
One of us has, and now all
He
of us
has,
have.
and now we all have, yeah.
Right.
So anyway, Noel, what did you think of True Detective? Because I mostly loved
Same.
it. But I felt a little flat with
You
the
picked some nits. You
finale.
wanted to.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the journey. I thought it was really, really awesome and super engrossing. And the way that the central mystery wrapped up was incredibly satisfying. But there were some choices and some like weird threads that they pulled and never followed up on that felt fan servicey.
Yeah.
Is that even a thing in a show like this?
I'll tell you what, yeah. It is because, so you were talking about this earlier in the shop, where there are all these references to season 1
There's a couple of references to
of,
season 1. Yeah.
of True Detective. And that's because the creator of this show, what's her name?
Issa Rae?
Issa Rae?
No. Issa
No,
Lopez.
that's Issa Lopez, who is the showrunner for this season, had pitched the show, Night Country, and then HBO was like, great, make it a True Detective.
Okay.
So that's why all of these sort of ham-fisted references to season 1 are in there, because they didn't exist, and then she kind of had to put them in there because they wanted it to be a True Detective show instead of just calling it Night Country.
So there's a point. Yes, Terry said he stopped watching after episode 4. Terry, 2 things. 1, yes. 2, there's only 6 episodes, my dude.
Yeah.
Finish it. You're more than halfway.
more.
Yeah, finish it. The central mystery has a very, very good wrap up. One that does explain away what you thought might be supernatural. However, there's a couple of references that are made that don't serve any story purpose.
Yes.
And it bugs me.
Yeah.
Like, why do it if it doesn't actually serve the larger tale you're telling? Now, if it's just to like vibes or member berries, I don't really respect that as much.
I don't.
Yeah.
But I also don't blame Issa. I blame
I don't
the
think-
people that I blame HBO for making her shoehorn all of that into this season to make it feel like a True Detective
So-
show. This could have just been Night
Night
Country.
Country.
There's 2 bits of references. One being the connection to minds and stuff that doesn't need any kind of resolution. It's just a cool connection, and that it could have ended there. But there's like some dialogue repeated and some like things that other people wouldn't know that are said, and that goes nowhere. So like the first bit of connecting it to the larger world, cool, easy,
Sure.
totally doable. When you make it seem like it's an important part of the plot and it ends up not being, or seeming to not be, I have a little less patience for that.
Also, it's important that to note that I didn't know any of those references to season 1 because I watched it so long ago that I forgot that there was a spiral involved.
There's a spiral. And they mention it?
So like all of the things that everyone's upset about, I didn't catch as references to anything or think that I'd put any more importance on it than I should have because I didn't know that that was a reference to a previous thing.
Like this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
I was
And
just
it
like,
wasn't that
oh,
big
that
of
was a
deal.
line in the show.
Yeah.
You know,
Also, there's
time is a flat
there's a
circle.
spiral here.
That was a cool little
There's
thing.
there's a part of the first season. The first season does come off, honestly, at a lot of points to be supernatural. However, they kind of create this character beat of what's his name? McConaughey's character. So many years of deep undercover and having tried so many different psychotropic drugs, he does have moments where he starts to see
Flashes
things,
back.
has flashbacks, sees skies moving in weird ways. So for the duration of the show, you're not exactly sure, is this really happening or is this one of his flashbacks that he has to ride through? So that's how that show deals with it. This one, it's just seems like weird shit.
I don't know.
I don't know. It feels less, as good as this show was. First of all, the bar is just real freaking high, but it feels less nuanced. It feels less intentional when it comes to the connections. Yeah. But still really worth watching.
I really, I definitely left the season feeling good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I have a good feeling about the season.
Nice.
It is
Terry says, it's too damn supernatural. I'll do it out of my respect for CultPop.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you.
Spoilers, it's not really as supernatural as you think, Terry. Just go ahead and finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, finish it up, too. You know, I think it's really interesting when a story starts out like this. She pitched it as Night Country, and they said make it True Detective. When you hear about, I've heard about mostly in comics, when a story idea was originally written for one character, and then it's like, oh, it was this, turned out to be this big story for another character. Like, it was going to be a Daredevil story, but then he got taken off of Daredevil and started writing Batman, so he repurposed. And it's just interesting that you can do that even.
Peter David famously was writing Supergirl with who wasn't actually a Supergirl. It was an alien called the Matrix.
Yes.
Who was taking the form of not Carol Danvers.
Linda Danvers.
Linda Danvers.
Yes.
And then he left that book and then just created a whole new series to finish that story up.
That's interesting too.
Yeah.
But I think that's
What series?
I
Angel?
forget. I always wanted to read it.
Something Angel.
Because I loved that Supergirl run,
Yeah.
and I didn't know about that until years later that's what it was.
That was related.
That's interesting. But then also when they repurpose it for an existing character that's already like this in True Detective, but it's like just change some of the beats and different themes emerge and whatever.
The Make It a Night Country, no other season has connected to the other. It's an anthology show. So it was her choice to connect it explicitly. It could have just been another True Detective.
Just called it True Detective Night Country, and they don't mention flat circles.
Every other True Detective season has been its own anthology thing, period. They're not connected. So it was a choice to connect these that I'm not exactly sure I'd agree with.
No, yeah.
It was strong enough on its own, did not need that.
Agreed. It only detracted from the experience.
Yeah, it pulled away.
Yeah, I agree. All right, main topic time. We're going to talk about
Best movie.
Madam Web.
Oh, I forgot.
Brian, did you go see Madam Web?
No, I saw it. I just forgot now that we were going to talk about it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So we're going to talk about Madam Web and not spoil it. And then we will give you our thoughts. And then we'll let you know when it's spoiler time. And then we're going to spoil this movie. It's directed by S.J. Clarkson. Did she direct anything else?
Lots of television.
Lots of television. Written by Jason Fuchs.
Oh, no, wrong one. Don't worry about it.
Cool. And starring Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabella Merced, and Adam Scott. Cassandra Webb is a New York City paramedic who starts to show signs of clairvoyance. Forced to confront revelations about her past, she must protect 3 young women from a mysterious adversary who wants them dead. Chris Dunn says, can we keep talking about Nick Cage movies instead?
Sure. He might be doing Spider-Man Noir, some rumor mill
that's
suggests.
Chris, I will talk about Nick Cage movies any day.
I've come around.
Yes.
I don't know. For
We've
long-time
seen it. We've seen this.
viewers, I hated Nick Cage. And like his past 10 years of films have kind of grabbed me.
We're never not in a Cage-a-sance.
He's constantly caging.
He's
cagey that way.
He's caging against the machine.
That way.
I love
He's against it.
Brian.
Hey.
I'm going to throw it to you.
About Madam Web?
About Madam Web.
Okay. Yeah.
No spoilers.
No
I know
spoilers.
you're excited to spoil.
I am.
Stop it.
I'm just always so excited.
Ease
to
it back.
Spoil it.
Roll it
Spoil
out.
things.
What did you think about Madam Web? Huh?
Interesting.
I think my headache just came back.
I didn't. I did not really like the.
What? You didn't like when it ended? Because it was so good.
Yeah, you were like,
Yeah.
why not more?
Yeah.
Why not more? I said.
I'm waiting for.
I screamed it.
I'm waiting for Madam Web :
Yeah.
more good
More.
stuff. That's the next one.
Yeah.
More good stuff.
Can't
Yeah.
stop, won't stop.
The,
The Unstoppable Madam Web.
I did not really enjoy this film. There were a number of aspects of it that I found unenjoyable. So
Visuals? Sounds?
the visuals were okay, some of them.
How was the popcorn?
Adam Scott was good.
Did you get popcorn?
Adam Scott's always good.
Is he?
He's
okay.
Adam Scott's always
he's
Adam
great.
Scott.
Adam Scott has never made me have an emotion other than like, that's funny.
Ben. And I mean, I'm not calling you Ben. He played a character named Ben.
In this movie.
And in Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But also, it's funny, he very often plays a jerk. Which is like Ben in Parks and Rec is one of his major like nice guy roles. So I liked him. There's an early conversation that they're having that they set up an obvious joke for her, and then she uses it to do some exposition instead.
Yeah.
And let's see, villainous motivations, lack of fulfillment of various things. I couldn't say I liked it all that much. How about you?
You could say it.
I could say it. In fact, I said it while saying I couldn't say it. I said it.
Noel,
Yeah.
can you say whether you liked it or not?
I did not enjoy this movie that much. However, I won't.
You did like Con Air.
I refuse. I love Con Air. I love Con Air.
Preface or
And
post
to
this by
compare
saying.
this to Con Air
Yeah.
is a spit in the face of Mr. Con as well as Mrs. Air.
Mrs. Air.
Just
They are married to each other, but
yeah.
okay, all right.
Well, she kept her surname.
They're
I
separated.
understand.
Yeah.
That's cool. They're
They're
separated.
separated. They're still together
Okay.
to make the
What you heard
beautiful
otherwise?
union that is the 1997 romantic picture.
Con Air.
Con Air.
Yeah.
So,
Directed by Simon West, produced by Jerry Bruckheimer.
Who's the
I
best
didn't-
boy?
Signor Grippy.
I thought he was.
I didn't think
doing
this.
something else.
This wasn't a good movie.
No.
I did not enjoy this movie.
No?
I think
Yeah.
it wasn't. Production wise, it wasn't impressive. Pacing wise, it wasn't impressive. It seemed like everyone was sleeping through it. The ADR was through the fucking roof. There were people like I don't think the main bad guy has dialogue that wasn't recorded after the fact.
You think through the roof in the amount that there was?
Yes, I was
that
using
there-
it.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
using it as a metaphor.
No, I wasn't sure if you meant
Not
that
the
or
recording
like
through
it
the
was
roof.
awesome.
Not like you
Well,
can
right.
hear it like they're in another room and you hear it through the roof.
like through the roof. Although sometimes they're on a roof.
I meant it so much it's
Yeah.
like it exploded through the roof metaphorically that it's been overused.
I thought you might have meant either that or the quality of like how well they did it.
no,
You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah.
the amount of
Well,
times
no,
that it
negative
seemed
in both
necessary-
ways.
The amount of time it seemed necessary was through the roof.
Yeah, okay.
And it like halfway through the movie, I realized like I don't think we've ever seen him speak dialogue and his mouth move at the same time.
That was one of his powers.
Basically, but
Oh.
on paper, if I wrote down like the plot of this movie and like the character interactions, the plot, and the goal, I can see what was attractive to all these actors because none of these people are bad.
Oh, I heard there were major script rewrites, like more than normal.
But I'm talking about so like
for them
if
to sign on originally.
no, I mean
Yeah.
like they signed on to a different movie.
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like,
Right.
but
Spider-Man.
even the movie that kind of comes through the idea of like, okay, a paramedic, a medic that can randomly see the future and at different moments, what they can possibly do with it. At the same time, she is emotionally unavailable and does not want human connections, but has to care for these three younger girls who she sees in her visions getting hurt.
Sure.
That whole dichotomy and the potential of that, I could totally see why all these people signed up for it. And throw on the extra layer of it's really kitschy and cute that it's 2003. That's Ben Parker and
Yeah.
his sister-in-law is pregnant. Like
Yeah.
you've got these little Easter eggs that are obvious but not so obvious that this could be kind of almost a cute exploration of a period of time. Mm-hmm. I see that, and that could have been good. This doesn't even follow through with any of that,
Yeah.
and I didn't think it was very.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fun experience. It wasn't bad. Jeff Kanata said this, and I'm going to steal it. It wasn't even bad enough to be fun.
Yeah. No.
It was just,
Yes.
it was just kind of boring.
Yeah.
And that's upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for my take, I was worried about going to see this movie
Because of all the crowds.
because of
Yeah.
last
Hates
week.
movie
I did not
crowds.
want to go see what was the movie we talked about last week.
I don't remember time. Is a flat
It
circle.
was really 2 weeks ago.
Argyle.
Argyle. I did not want to
You didn't
go
wanna
see
see it.
Argyle, and then I wound up kicking and screaming, deciding that
didn't
I was like,
ask you to leave?
this was fun. This was actually kind of fun. It's terrible, but
Yeah.
it's so terrible that it comes back around again for me. And It was
Okay.
kind of fun.
All right.
And I was like, oh man, I'm going to go see this Madam Web. What
Right.
if I like it? I was starting to think,
Yeah.
like, do I just make excuses to like things? Like, do I just not? Am I not critical enough? Am
Would
I
that be
going
a
to
problem?
just? Am I going to go?
Wouldn't that be
see
good,
I guess.
Kind of.
Not for a
you
review
enjoy
show.
things more. You could say fun, funny,
So,
positive things.
I just was very relieved that I saw this and absolutely hated it.
Oh, what a load off.
This was
I
love
love being
stressed out.
validated.
Yeah.
And this was the time.
So, there's nothing good about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that I thought could have been interesting.
Sure.
Even something that I liked, which was you had mentioned Dakota Johnson's character, Madam Webb, the titular Webb, was like, I don't like kids. I don't want to have connections to kids. These kids suck. And the way she treated those kids and talked to those kids,
It was fun.
I was like, oh, I like this. I like that she has sort of this attitude, this like, I don't really want to be here. I don't want to be helping you. I can't wait to drop you off at the nearest
Yeah, she was not into it.
just to get rid of
She
you kids.
literally
And they're not
drops him
far
off in the woods
in age.
Like, don't die. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a couple hours.
But then I
that's
realized
funny
A
to
couple
me.
of hours. She
Yeah,
was a
3
long
hours.
time.
Give me 3 hours.
But then,
still.
but then I realized watching her interviews. Oh, that's just her.
She
All
actually
of her
did not like those
interviews,
children.
She
Well, they're not
just
children.
has the exact same face.
Yeah.
The same nothing blank stare face that she has throughout this movie is just kind of, I think, the actor. So even that was like, oh, okay, she's just being that way, just the way she is. There was nothing enjoyable about this movie for me. Noel had asked me, because I had seen him shortly after seeing it. He said, well, when did it lose you? And I was like,
During the
first scene.
Yeah. Okay.
The very first scene, I started to see the cracks. I'm like, oh no.
You mean the whole opening, or
The Amazon
very
part or
first
the
The Amazon part.
Yeah.
'Cause the back half of the Amazon part is some of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What happened in the back half?
You see the Aranya.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Oh, and they're like, she'll come back. This is spoiler. It's the second scene of the movie. They're like, she'll come back when she has to.
We'll be
I'll
waiting.
ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Yeah. There's nothing redeemable about this movie. I don't think anybody in it was particularly engaging, interesting. I don't think there is not a bit of dialogue in this movie that I found believable or funny or sad. Like, there was nothing
So
for me to grab
Joke that I
on.
was talking about.
Yes.
That they set up.
What was it?
Oh, well, so they're sitting in the EMT break room eating food, and she's like, he's trying to get her to go out and do something.
Yeah.
Be like, do this. I'm busy. You know. Do this, and I'm busy. She's giving various excuses. She's like, I have to walk the dog. Like, you don't have a dog. I have to adopt a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I could return the favor. Like, say, and then walk it.
Yeah.
Like, is the obvious joke, but I still would have enjoyed it. But they're like, no, we really have to hammer home that her mom died. They only saw it a few minutes ago, that she was adopted.
I'm an orphan.
Yeah. There's a lot of
look,
exposition in this movie.
So much.
in dialogue.
So I Robert Monroe Jr. asked in
No.
the chat, wow, is this even worth watching when it's
would not.
streaming? Probably not. But I think
You
Hold on.
can skip to the very end,
He
and
never.
What?
Every time I ask him, do you recommend this movie?
Yeah.
He flutters around it. You're like, no.
I don't flutter.
you do.
A bit
I
of
do.
a flutter.
I
You
love
flutter.
to flutter.
I'm sorry.
right?
Go ahead. Okay.
So I do think there's an interesting conversation online going on right now about how to approach this movie, because by all available metrics, it's just not very good. Like, from bad to
Including,
terrible.
did we enjoy it?
Well, like, financially, it's not very
Yeah.
good. Structurally, it's not very good. There's a critical consensus by people that aren't just bloviating YouTubers and reactionaries, which includes us.
Yeah.
People who actually put thought into how they approach something, that it is not a very good movie. Now, there is a conversation happening online how to approach or how to talk about this without just shitting on people's work.
Yeah.
Because there is, but nuance in the internet, my dude. I think that's a better conversation, because honestly, Chris, could Nick Cage have saved this movie? Yes. 100% yes.
Yeah.
Because he would have understood the assignment.
Like if he was
But-
playing Madam Web.
Yeah, basically. But what I think is a better conversation, or a more interesting conversation, is it's very difficult to make a movie. It's even more difficult for literally every aspect of the movie to fall short, which a lot of people, I know, everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people are pointing at, I think this is a systemic issue with Sony Pictures, with the how they meddle and or corporatize their, because if you think about all of the other Spider-Man, I'm not counting Sony Animation, they are literally their own bubble. Yeah.
I understand.
But
Yeah,
before
JD,
somebody
just cool it.
Well, no. It's just because I don't want to keep talking at that.
yeah.
I would not count Sony Animation with their Spider-Verse movies.
No.
They literally exist in a bubble and do their own thing for 5 years straight.
They're not trying to start a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man.
Without Spider-Man.
Right.
So like the idea of all of these pushed out spider adjacent movies, honestly, none of them have been good. Some of them have been fair.
Right.
Like I think the first Venom is fun. Mm-hmm. It's not good.
It's not good, but I at least had fun watching it.
Right.
But then after that, we get what? Venom 2, Morbius. Is there another one I'm missing in there?
I feel like there might be, but I don't
Craven is coming.
Craven is coming.
Craven's coming.
It's a good tagline.
The other
Craven,
two.
he's coming.
So like, I did like Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Those are good.
But Amazing
they had
Spider-Man
Spider-Man in them.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It was Spider-Man. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I think aesthetically it was great, and there was a lot of really good actors in it, but the movie was stupid as hell.
Yeah.
But like the diminishing returns of how they're approaching this property feels like it's just keeping a copyright.
Yeah.
As opposed to like
that might probably part of it.
Making art.
Right.
So the thought that I had while watching this movie was, all right, so in the way back machine, we'll climb in and we'll go back to, I would say 96 when Scream happened. And Scream,
this is right before Con Air, about a year before Con Air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Scream paved the way for Con Air.
It's Con Air BC, Con Air AD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's how I
BC and
time. Yeah, it's Con Air BC.
Con Air BC.
BCCA.
So Scream came out and it rejuvenated the horror genre.
It was
the slasher genre. Before that, it was like a bunch of shitty Friday the 13th sequels and Hellraiser sequels. It was
long in the tooth.
Not a single Juve.
Not a single Juve?
Not a single Juve was to be had. Okay. So then Scream happened. They rejuvenated the horror as a genre. And so as I was watching this, I thought, this feels like the same way I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. What was it? Final Cut. What was the other one? Urban Legends Final Cut. Like they just started pumping them out with nary a care to quality, script, anything. Nary a one.
Not one.
And this felt like that to me. Of just we're just going to pump out superhero movies. It doesn't really matter who's in it, what it's about, etc. We're just going to pump these out. And that's sort of how it.
And I wouldn't even. So also the larger conversation of superhero fatigue. I would not even compare this to MCU movies.
I'm annoyed that people call it a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
it's not.
Even a less than good, even a bad Marvel movie is leagues more competently produced and plotted and put together than this.
Than these Sony movies, for the most part.
All of them. Even people that like shit on Quantumania and Love and Thunder. Those movies
still fun stuff in those movies.
Those movies are masterpieces compared to how much this movie fell apart. It feels like I'm holding sand when I'm watching this movie because there's nothing to hold on to.
Well, I think they definitely want.
It's very porous.
It is very porous, like the Sandman. I think they definitely obviously want to start a universe, and they've been trying to do this for quite a while, and they're tried again with this movie, and what happens and what could happen after this movie, and just like, I could see them wanting this to be the prequel to what they're doing.
The way this movie ends, we won't spoil it.
Right.
But I was like, they think they're going to make more of this.
Right. That like this was the enthralling opening act.
Yeah. They think they're going to make more of this with those horrible character designs.
Yeah.
Right.
Horrible character designs.
Well, let's.
Oh wait, you didn't. Okay. So that was one thing I liked.
Yeah, let's get to spoilers. Do you have anything you want to say before spoilers?
That was one thing that I liked well enough was like, I think those costumes were cool.
I think the costumes look good. I think they are shot in the most ugly way humanly possible.
I can see that.
Like they are like mid soft lit CW looking bullshit on the big screen. It just doesn't look good. And then how they treat the titular Madam Web herself.
Oh my God.
Even in current comics, it's very subdued, like sunglasses, trench coat kind of chill.
And auburn hair now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they put her in like a weird ass visor. Like, I didn't understand.
Over designed to hell.
I didn't understand the jump from I'm laying in a hospital bed to.
We're in spoilers now?
We're in
Yeah,
spoilers.
this is getting.
I was
Sorry,
asking
we're
if
in-
there's anything before spoilers.
Yeah.
So
that was pre-spoiler.
sorry, guys.
there's costumes.
She wears sunglasses at the end.
Sure.
There's costumes.
We're going to spoil the movie now.
It's happening.
But don't go anywhere. You don't care.
Yeah.
That
Fine.
they
You probably already saw it.
that they did a ham-fisted jump from. She falls into the water, and I guess a firework flares in her eyes or something. I don't know.
Is that what happened? I thought
I
she
don't
was just
know.
blinded from the almost drowning, and also paralyzed.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that was how that works. There was
I don't know.
there was a
The
firework
pressure
thing that
maybe
was
from being slightly under the water.
cool.
There's a whole lot of things. We'll get back to that.
Yeah,
scene, but yeah.
Throw it in the chat as to why she's now blind
And
but,
paralyzed.
and paralyzed. But
Assuming she is, well, I guess we just sort of assumed that.
She's got lazy.
the movie tells us that.
Did the movie say?
It-
Oh my god.
The visual representation of how they show her
Right,
tells
right.
us
I know.
that
And we
yes,
know
she
that
is
she-
now
right.
paralyzed. But she's not even paralyzed in the comics. That's what I'm trying to say. Like if they were
Oh,
going
no.
with
Right,
current continuity
Right,
or
right.
what she looks like now, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
But it was so comically represented that I wanted to scream. Like she's in a hospital bed. This is all the family I need, and it's just these three teenagers that you met 2 days ago.
Yeah. But she's
And
seen
then-
them a lot in the future.
Sure. And then cuts to they're all getting takeout together and they come back to the apartment, the huge apartment that they share with themselves.
Well, she's a
That
paramedic.
is now
she's-
blinded and
That are now blinded and she is like
And
a
paralyzed
huge,
paramedic.
A huge window.
I guess she probably doesn't do
a
that anymore.
huge webbed window the size of an apartment wall
Yeah.
in New York, and she's in the center of it, and she just turns around with giant sunglasses that didn't even look like they fit on her
it
fucking
was
face.
hilarious.
And she just mumbles her dialogue of, "You got me, Kung Pao.
Yeah.
That's okay." Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it.
With a little eyebrow twitch or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. We got you. They didn't have what you asked for, so we got you
Kung
Pao chicken.
I know it. Oh, she probably
It's
made all that
okay.
money. I mean, she probably used the
Because
powers
she
to make
uses
money
her
to get
psychic
the-
abilities
right,
to
right.
just guess what they ordered for her.
Yeah.
And doesn't let them finish sentences.
Yeah. It's
it was
excruciating to them.
So, but it was so comical, but it wasn't funny.
Was it in the future? It was like a little while in the future.
This movie the
end?
span of this
I don't
movie
know.
is either 3 days or 70 years.
Yeah,
There's
no
no,
idea.
Right.
concept of time
also
and how
true.
long time takes.
So
Yeah.
the part I was watching the movie and I was like, they're doing this. Okay, so she has to protect these 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
I guess she'll just get on a plane and go to the Amazon.
She's like, I'll be
and then-
back in a few days.
And just wander the Amazon,
right.
hopelessly lost. Just
Hey, she's got a book with pictures in it.
That's
yeah,
true.
she does. She
And
does have a
I mean,
journal.
her
only-
abilities were kicking in too.
Only
I
30
guess.
years have passed. That jungle looks the same.
Yeah.
All the beaten paths.
Yeah.
No
Right.
changes.
So yeah, she
Right.
basically goes to the
got a book.
cave
Right.
to do this whole
With the-
thing in the middle of the goddamn Amazon.
I went to the bathroom at
Yeah.
that point.
It's
and
like
she,
when you're
and then
on a
comes
sitcom.
back and it's like she had been gone 4 hours.
Right. They were like in the woods still,
okay,
right?
yeah.
And then they left, obviously. But it's like in a sitcom where somebody is like counting down and then someone has a conversation in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And then they're still at the same number.
Yeah.
The one of the things, she's a paramedic. One of the things that happens is she sees her friend make a choice and die. The next scene is, hey, we're all going to the service. You should come. And she gets on a train to go. But she's wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And it's a comic book accurate outfit. The jeans, t-shirt, and the red trench coat. But the whole scene, all I could think of, you're wearing that shit to a wake?
Yeah.
Right.
You're a part of the FDNY and you're wearing that shit to a wake? Like,
Yeah.
I assume there's probably a uniform or dress blues or
Probably.
at least just black, not
Yeah.
necessarily stonewashed jeans
Yeah.
and a red trench coat.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't.
But I
I
was
didn't.
so bored
Yeah.
at points
Yeah.
that small things like that were just
Sure.
like,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Can I say now that
Sony
sorry,
has.
go
I
ahead.
have a
No,
problem
this-
with Sony now.
Yeah.
There's just nothing naturalistic about this. Everything feels completely staged. People act in ways that I don't think even teenage girls act, where they're just like, "Oh, we're in a dino. Let's just all 3 of us get
Dance
up on this."
table.
Fuck.
What?
What?
He was like, "Come on, I'm gonna do it." And then the people there are sitting as though this is like semi-comic, like, oh, those girls are wild, but like this happens. This kind of thing happens.
Go ahead.
Guys, can I say, now that we are in spoilers,
yes,
this is the first movie in maybe decades that I have thought about walking out in the middle of. You know what I mean? I was like,
yep.
should I leave? And I mean, I probably wouldn't have anyway, but we're going to talk about it for the show. So I watched, and it was just so much of it was like this adjacent conversations that you see the same thing multiple times, which is our powers, and that's fine. But it gives the movie this very choppy feel.
Yeah.
I saw someone online wonder why Ezekiel, who has the power to, I guess, see the future incorrectly, and,
Also, hey, I do have a very important question. It's like, why is he wearing a costume?
Yeah, but he also walks around with no shoes, which is like kind of a distinctive look too.
That's the way Ezekiel looked
in the comics.
You could have done 1,000 better stories with the character.
Oh
of
my
Ezekiel
God, yes.
Sims.
Right?
Ezekiel
And he
Sims
turns
isn't
out-
even a villain.
No,
he's a good guy.
He seems to be kind of in the beginning, and then is not at all.
Yep.
And he's got the white hair, and he's got a cool look with the no shoes and whatever. I saw online somebody pointed out, well, how is he rich?
Yeah.
How did he parlay these abilities into wealth? And also, then I was wondering, why was that NSA woman following him? She's following him for some reason.
NSA woman?
So in the very beginning, he like meets her at an opera.
He's
following
her.
No. He's following her.
Oh, he was following her.
Yeah, he's the Yeah, he gets her attention.
Why does he want her? What was the deal with that?
Well, because so that we could have the exposition of he wakes up from a dream after having slept with her and has to detail his entire life story, why he's having these dreams, the fact that he has to track down these three girls who are going to kill him in the future.
To sleep with to do
Well,
this?
I mean, just to get her access.
Yeah.
Oh, he needed
It's
her
all
access.
to get the badge.
Right. Yeah, I forget what he
Also-
got from that.
They're able to, from his dreams, just find these three girls.
Right.
Using technology.
Just accurate, very, very accurate drawings, I guess. Photorealistic, really.
Luckily, they were able to take the women in his dreams who he's never seen in person and make photos of them.
In his dreams, they're all masked.
Yeah.
That's true, too.
You're right.
Oh, I didn't even think about. Does he see them at all in the kind of present time?
Nope.
No.
He just sees these CW chicks
man.
just beat the shit out of him.
He sees them.
Yeah.
How many years in the future is it?
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. He sees them. He's, let's say, 15 years in the
All I
future.
know is that his hair gets dark and then gray
It's
again.
gray.
It's just very gray in this one.
And
But
he's
throughout
got
the
this-
movie,
Dyeing
it gets gray.
when
and
he was
like,
wealthy.
Yeah, he's got this helper who's helping him track these women down using technology. And so she is somehow able to take visions that he had, nightmares that he has in the middle of the night of women who are 15 years older, and then go, here's their casting photos from from now.
Here's what they look like.
And now.
Unmasked and a decade earlier.
Yes.
Right. Very advanced technology. These people have.
I can't really recommend this movie, but I wouldn't put the blame of this movie at the feet of literally anyone associated with. Like, S.J. Clarkson is a really good director. She's done tons of stuff for Game of Thrones, and I think pretty much every good TV show you've heard of in the last decade, she has been a part of the creative team. Most of these actors I really, really like.
Yeah.
The writer has had a couple of like good things. I know, like, it's so weird that, like, again, making a movie and having it all work is like Herculean. It's almost just as hard and impossible for everything to not work.
Yeah.
It's almost impressive how much this entire thing just falls apart, and that they chose to release it.
Yeah.
Well, once
That's
you're far
true.
enough in.
Can you imagine what Batgirl was if studios put this out?
A tax write-off.
But also too, like, WB doesn't have to do really anything to maintain the rights of Batman. They could just.
That's true.
But this movie cost, I think, something like $80 million to make, which is technically a bargain for a superhero movie.
Well, there
And
wasn't
then-
that much superhero.
I mean,
Yeah.
advertises a superhero movie. It's a superhero movie.
Oh no, I know. That was just another way that they felt.
Even if you double the budget in regards to how it was advertised, it doesn't have that hard or that big of a hurdle to clear to maybe a financially like solvent. Still probably won't make it.
Yeah, probably
Like,
not in theaters.
Yeah, this still probably won't make it.
while. Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people are celebrating like, oh, they've got their first cult classic. I was like, this
they?
isn't even fun enough
Who is
No.
celebrating this?
to be a cult like Morbius.
At least you got
Had-
Morbin time.
Morbius
Yeah.
had like compared to this movie,
Madam
Morbius
Web in
had
time.
charm. Did you watch
I
Morbius?
did not see
did.
Morbius.
It-
Plus, I heard Matt Smith was really good.
He would like it had a logic to it that followed through. Some of the action scenes were actually good, and there were some solid jokes.
It felt like Morbius felt like a movie that came out in between maybe Blade coming out and then like the MCU starting.
Okay.
I
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you
Worse
mean.
than that, I think it came out
Worse.
after Blade 3 before the MCU.
Sure.
When the Blade
Yeah, yeah,
movies started going down.
Downhill,
Right.
yeah.
So like it has that aesthetic of like, oh, this came out 25 years ago, just nobody
Yeah,
told us.
Yeah.
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 Which has its own kind of charm because the movie itself was pretty earnest. This is just lifeless and it's sad.
And you know what? At the end of the movie,
Credits?
I would before them.
Oh, right before the credits?
I would watch a movie that started there. You know what I mean? Like she's in that penthouse, and the three of them are spider-powered
rolls.
characters,
Yeah,
Does her like
and they go and do stuff.
Kung
Yeah,
Pao
yeah.
chicken.
Like if that was
I-
the
you would-
opening scene of the Madam Web
You
movie,
would watch
I would
them
watch
eat dinner.
that. Yeah. I would, because I really love if she could guess different stuff about the dinner. And there was
I really want to watch
Yeah.
that show. Again. Like, I want to watch
Like,
the sitcom of
let me
insufferable
finish a
Cassie Webb,
sentence.
not letting them do shit. Yeah,
Todd Engel says, before seeing it, I was unhappy Jessica Drew, not Jess Drew, wasn't in it. Now I'm glad she wasn't. And to add another nitpick, Maddie 20 years ago is the age of Maddie now, and Anya too, but Julia now is a grown woman with a kid, and Madam Webb is like way too young, even if she aged 20 years.
yeah. That's all. Todd is hitting out the history of like the actual characters in the comics.
Oh, I
yes,
see.
they changed. Like Maddie is in the comics has a kid, or who has a kid?
Julia.
Julia now is grown up with a kid. So is Jessica Drew at this point too. It's just like there's.
I haven't seen Maddie in a long time. I remember Maddie was introduced during the, or at least as far as I was aware, during the John Byrne Chapter 1 era of Spider-Man, where he was writing and drawing it.
Which one's Maddie?
Maddie is, in the beginning, when John Byrne takes over the book, Peter Parker has given up being Spider-Man, and there is a Spider-Man out there Spider-Manning. And then it's this big secret of like, who's the other Spider-Man if it's not Peter?
Who was it?
It was teenage girl Maddie.
Whoa. All right.
Exactly.
No. How? What's her origin?
I don't remember her origin, but
She got
basically,
Yeah.
it was like a teenage girl, but it was drawn by John Byrne, and it looked like a grown man
In Spider-Man costume?
in a Spider-Man costume.
Right.
But she was like, "Ha ha! I'm a teenage girl."
John Byrne doesn't give a shit.
Gotcha.
John Byrne never gives a shit.
You guys, there was so much exposition in this film, right? That they or just said what was happening, or things that they didn't want me to see coming that I ended up correctly predicting. You remember the scene? They're hiding out in their hotel room, and they're like, "This is a crucial part of any CPR class when you have to learn how to demonstrate group cohesion thematically later on." They're like, you need to trade off
if you get
CPRing.
tired.
It's a check off CPR.
Yeah.
Exactly. This 15 seconds of CPR is too much for you. Risk switching out the rhythm in the middle, because then we'll know you're a team. Right? You work
forgot
together.
about that.
But if
only
if the person dies though,
then you're not a team. And if they get blinded and in a wheelchair, so.
Yeah.
I hate this.
It's such.
I really wanted this to be fun, and it wasn't. Unfortunately,
And the Julia Carpenter Spider-Woman, right when I started reading comics, I always loved her. And I did really enjoy seeing just a live action depiction of her. It was only
how did her powers
2
work?
minutes total. She has essentially Spider-Man's powers, but she can create these like psychic webs. I don't know if she really swings on them. She just can do other web stuff, web people up and whatever. And she might be able to glide. No gliding. I don't think. But her costume was really cool, and
it is cool.
She was a spider character, and so I always loved Julia Carpenter's Spider Woman.
What did you guys think of the little tidbits, like the fact that it's Ben Parker and Peter is obviously born at the end of this movie,
that was cool.
and
It's fine.
Maddie talks about her uncle.
We don't really know his name.
Yeah,
It's true,
they
they
made a
don't tell
point of not
But she
saying his
mentioned
name.
We don't know.
Uncle,
Could be the sister.
Uncle
Richard.
no,
Oh,
Ben?
sorry.
Jonah, Uncle Jonah.
Oh, I
Because
didn't
Maddie,
catch that.
Yeah, she says my Uncle Jonah, and that's J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, is
'Cause
that
Maddie is
in the
Jonah's
story?
I
didn't know that.
Uncle, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Because I never heard of this character before this. But the little tidbit. Oh, and was that Emma Roberts?
Yeah.
Playing Mary Parker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very small role, possibly because they hope for a
Very
sequel.
small, pivotal.
Yes. I mean,
That
that
whole
side story
scene,
could not happen without her.
The baby shower scene, like
Yeah.
I mean, could this
all the acting in that was so stilted and weird.
Oh my God,
this
right.
potentially-
And why can't she just stay outside?
even if so let's say this is a backdoor origin for Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Okay.
Just for shits and giggles. Because the timing would match up.
Yeah.
2003 being born, 2020, like 16,
Yeah.
18.
Sure,
that,
sure.
that would match up.
Yeah.
But that means that there would be full-ass adults in spider costumes
Years.
out doing things years
Before Peter.
Before Peter.
Before Tony Stark was
Yeah.
around. And
Yeah.
and no one is like, oh yeah, there were those 3 Spider-Man.
Remember those 3 spider people?
Yeah.
OMG,
People do talk about everything that's happening in every conversation.
OMG, Emma was the best part of the movie. She does her thing in her few minutes.
It's true.
She did do her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
The Parker
you know-
family was good.
Actually, Adam Scott was.
it was good.
He was fine. He was Adam Scotting.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Ernest.
It was boring.
I was in. I mean, right. It's not like
That's the way I feel about Adam Scott.
seriously. Oh,
Yeah.
When I say Adam Scott was fine, he Adam Scotted.
Yeah.
He showed up. He had a
Adam
big
Scotted
head,
everywhere.
and he just Adam Scotted.
Oh, he's great.
Scotting.
This panel does not react unanimously to Adam Scott.
I like Adam Scott. I
fine.
like he made no difference, positive or negative, to this experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was not in much of it, and
He
yeah.
was like the third lead.
It's hard to remember what happened in this movie.
Look, it's I can't in good conscience recommend this movie. I mean, if you're fascinated by just how movies become this, or the process of like making it and it still doesn't gel, or it's,
Yeah.
you know what? This is
does.
probably a great film class watch, but other than that,
I don't
Just
think,
real quick.
Yeah,
Noel asked me when he came to the shop. And he's like, "So, what'd you think of the masterpiece, Madam Web?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I'm gonna answer that question by explaining to you that 2 seats to my left,
Hmm.
there was a gentleman, there was a teenager, and he had his phone out the entire time. The brightness wasn't too bad,
Right.
But it was definitely in my periph,
Right.
the entire time,
right.
There were a group of, I would say, 5 or 6, 12 to 14-year-olds,
Mm-hmm.
way up in the front. And at one point, they were so loud and rambunctious, it sounded like they were having a slap fight.
Oh, they were doing slap fight.
And none of that bothered me.
It did not
I just
faze
sat
you.
there just going,
Yeah.
good for them.
Yeah, getting some enjoyment out of this.
Yeah, like normally that would enrage me.
Right.
I would be
Right.
if I could see your phone in the periph.
Oh, it sucks.
I would do
Yes.
things in my power so just
Yeah.
to not see it. I would put my head up. I would do a thing.
Take the phone and smash it on the ground. Yes.
There was a kid in front of me years ago.
Uh-huh.
He had his phone out. It was as bright as the goddamn sun.
Oh.
And he was texting somebody.
Ah.
And so I leaned forward and I said, "She wants to know what time you'll be there." I could read his text. I read his text to him, and then he was like, "Oh," and he put it away. Drives me up a fucking wall.
Yeah, and you're right to be driven up
Thank
that
you.
wall,
Thank you.
JD. I agree.
But
It
yeah,
sucks.
this time I was like,
trying to watch a movie here.
You know what? This is fine.
And maybe they would not have been doing those things. Who goes to a movie is on their phone the whole time? It's
lot of
because
people.
the movie.
A lot of people. It has nothing to do with the quality of the movie.
No. Yeah.
Still, this movie.
I also remember thinking, I wish we had a decision. Like, guys, should we discuss Madam Web or Poor Things?
Oh,
Poor
yeah.
Things is still out.
I saw it.
We should have done Poor Things, you guys.
Yeah. Well,
Although this was
a
the
good
most fun I've
conversation.
had.
It's
Yeah.
about the conversation, not
Exactly.
the quality of what we're talking about.
You
Speaking
know-
of, next week,
yeah.
we're going to talk about the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender
I'm
show
very-
on Netflix.
Yes.
I don't want to say excited,
We'll
but
see.
I am very cautiously optimistic.
I feel like there's between the three of us, you've watched every stitch of it. You've not if you watched
Of the cartoon.
old cartoon, not a stitch either.
No.
Coming in new,
Stitchless.
coming in hot.
Stitchless.
We're gonna talk about the first 2 episodes at least, and just thought-
So join us.
Sounds good. You know what, you guys, you wouldn't recommend the movie at all. You would not recommend the movie at all. I
No.
would say
I think
if
it's
you can
fascinating.
see the last few minutes, you could do that. If you want to see like some spider stuff, I'm talking the last like 4
Ryan,
minutes.
I don't
of
think
this
that
movie.
looked good. I don't think that was good.
No, I'm saying
so. I
here's the
wouldn't
thing.
even say do that.
If you're like, man, I love these characters. I just want to see them on the screen.
no, because then
you
you'll be
wouldn't do it.
disappointed. No, I don't.
I would say go ahead
I
and do it.
don't even think that's a good
He's-
argument.
you can say that.
I said it.
That's his opinion.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like,
You would not say that.
I had a thirst my entire life to see a live action depiction of these 3 characters.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see this movie for that.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't even satisfying, so I would
wouldn't
not recommend it based on that alone. If anything,
Yeah.
look at a still picture of them in their costumes.
Move it around a little bit.
Have a good day. Like, it's not worth the experience of the whole thing just for that.
Robert Monroe
Okay.
Jr. is chiming in,
Yes.
and he says, "I."
Or lowercase l.
It's true. It's
We don't
true.
know.
I don't know.
Could it be that typographical thing that's just a line? They're all 3 of those things. Anyway, it's all about meaning.
Best movie of the year. Have a good time. Everyone should check it out.
Yeah, you should see the best movie of the year this year.
And that's Poor Things.
You think so?
It was awesome.
Okay.
I mean, it's only
There's
20.
other
It's
stuff
pretty
that came
early
out
in 2024.
this year.
Yeah.
When it
Oh,
came
no,
out
it's last year.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Never mind.
Yeah, JD.
Yeah.
The best
I'm a
movie
real
that you
piece of
saw
shit.
this year
Yeah. Yeah.
So far. Yeah.
so far. Here's a
Robert
long
Monroe
time.
Jr., type faster. I want to see what you have to say.
Yeah. Holding the line for
I feel
Robert.
like if we end, we'll just like hanging up on him.
No,
you
I don't
know?
want to do that.
I don't want to hang up on him.
It'll
No.
still come through. and
Hey,
you can
Dylan.
respond to it.
Dylan.
Hi.
How many times did you watch Madam Web in the theater?
Yeah.
I 0.
0 times in the
Zero.
theater? Did you get like a
Solid
bootleg
0,
copy?
and-
You shouldn't do that.
I saw.
You're the problem.
Oh, you know
You're why we didn't enjoy this movie.
real quick. Actually, the thing that really annoys me is the studio seems to have taken the wrong goddamn lesson from this film,
was the
and they're like, "Well, women don't go to movies.
Oh.
It's women."
Well,
It's because this is a female-led
How
movie.
do you know what the studio feels about this? Or is
Because they
Shortly after,
yeah.
they disbanded the writers' room for the Silk TV series
Oh.
and are rehiring a bunch of different creatives because,
Okay.
in quotes, they wanted to be more male skewing.
Oh.
Silk,
The one about
The
the
female
female
protagonist,
yeah.
Right.
to
Well.
be more male-centric, focused skewing.
And they said this?
That
Like,
was
yes.
that wasn't
some
even
of-
like
some
we
of the
heard
people that were.
somebody
I
say
mean,
that
it was
in a room.
it was reported. There wasn't a press release from Sony Pictures that said
That's what I thought.
"Fuck you, girls."
Right.
It was a like hearsay, but still like not just.
But yeah, they don't look at like the quality of the film or anything else. They're just like, well,
Well,
women.
also too.
Well, they didn't know how to they put together the ingredients that they thought would make a good movie, and and the other things that they made are what that is, right? They've tried to create it, so them not understanding what went wrong is not a surprise, right? That they're like, well, what do we do now?
But
They don't know still.
It's been a
You know.
financial failure 3 times now, and they're just gonna keep doing the same thing. That's insanity.
What are they going to say when Craven comes out and that also sucks? Like, well, no movies for dudes.
Back to the girls.
Well, I don't honestly. I don't give a shit about the Silk show. Like it's. I'll
didn't know
see
it was
Craven.
happening.
I don't give a shit about the
I would've
character,
watched
but
Silk.
we'll see.
I might still if it's still
Craven's like a hard R too and shit too.
whatever.
So whatever.
Yeah.
He like gets bit by a radioactive lion. I think.
I
in the
believe he
trailer.
just
He
gets
dies.
lion blood.
He's basically-
it's regular
he's
lion
Catman.
blood. Yeah.
He
It's
gets just
literally
regular
like
line-
Catman.
Lion blood gets into his bloodstream and he becomes Craven the Hunter.
He's cut near a lion that is also cut.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like my
actually,
blood is
so
mingling.
what it is both he cuts his hand and then the lion cuts their paw.
And they make
And
a
they
pact.
go like, oh, it's Dylan. Yeah.
The lion's name is Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you not met a
Predator,
lion
dude.
before? They're all named Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, so I thought they went by different
You son of a
subnames
bitch.
because
Son
of
of
that.
a bitch.
Anyway,
Todd-
no. The before we get into Todd, the other thing that seems
gonna get into
distressing.
Todd.
Yeah, let's get
Before
down
we get
to
into
it.
this fucking Todd, there's also now rumors that Sony wants to fast track the next Spider-Man movie and make it another multiverse story, but Marvel and Feige are like,
No,
we
don't want to do that.
I'm spread too thin with these 4 other projects.
Yeah.
Can it be 2025
Yeah.
or 2026,
Okay.
and not another multiverse story, but the hopeful plan that we were doing of all of the New York stuff and Wilson Fisk, and they're like, no, we need a financial hit. Like, so
What
even
makes them
that's
think that they would know
better.
what to do in regards to a financial hit. You know,
Well, none of their track record.
right? That's not what's making them think
No,
this.
no.
Right.
Todd says 2 of the friends I went with liked it more than Night Swim and Argyle.
Wow.
I liked Night Swim the most, but that's me, and I love going to poorly attended B movies in the cold weather. Todd Engel, there is something very special about going to poorly attended B horror movies in the cold weather. I 100% get that vibe, and I love it. I haven't seen Night Swim, but
We kinda liked Argyle.
knew what it was, man. To me, Argyle was like, we're going to be batshit crazy, goofy as hell, and the people that you watch in the film are going to look like they're enjoying themselves at least. None of that is Madam Web. I am flabbergasted that people like this better than other movies.
Another movie.
Another film.
Right. Any other film.
The whole time felt like a repurposed like Buffy episode.
How dare you?
Yeah,
Well, I
Buffy's
mean, I'm
really
talking
good.
about like the filmic quality of it, and taking this small chunk of a 40-minute episode, but like, let's make it 1 hour and 50 minutes, and we have no budget, so let's go. Like, it's just, it looked bad. It just looked bad.
Nothing about it was good.
Nothing bad was good.
Let us know what
JD
I said.
says.
Nothing about it was good.
Oh, all right.
Nothing about
That's
it
less
was
interesting.
bad, bitch.
Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought
I
of
have an audience of one. It's Dylan.
Madam
I
Web
just want to hear him laugh.
with the subject line, it's Madam Webbin time. Thanks so much.
It's Madam time?
It's Madam time. And then we'll arrange for you to pay
meet
for
a
sex.
Madam. Yeah. It's Morbin Webs. It's Webbin. It's Webbin.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us,
Warbin time.
and we'll talk at you later.
Web-
See you next week.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
Doo-doo.
Let me just roll in here. Kung Pao.